Hello everyone, welcome to my presentation on stress and coping. Myself, Dr. Mary M.J., Assistant Professor, Department of Social Work, Government First Grade College, Vamadapadavu. Stress is an important topic as it affects everyone. You may be of any age, sex, region, religion, culture, or of economic status. Stress differs from individual to individual. No matter who you are, at one or the other moment of your life, you will be undergoing stress. The way we take stress may be different. One may take it negatively, whereas the other may convert into a positive energy and do marvelous things. The topic of my presentation has been divided into two parts. In the first part, we will discuss about stress, the characteristics, sources, causes and effects of stress. In the second part, we discuss about coping and the techniques of coping. Stress means different things to different people. There are various definitions with regarding stress. Here I quote a simple definition. Stress can be defined as our mental, physical, emotional, and behavioral reactions to any perceived demands or threats. It is a condition in which the person responds to changes in the normal balanced state. When we see about the characteristics of stress, stress is normal. I've already told you that stress is universal and stress is normal. And to some extent, a necessary part of life. Unless we have something which to trigger us, we don't achieve things in life. When we are stressful, automatically, if we are able to take it with a positive energy, we can do marvelous things. Stress is something that everyone experiences in life. What causes stress can differ from one person to the other. When one person is being stressed because of some factors, the other person may not be affected by it. It's differ from individual to individual. Stress means different things to different people. For me, stress means my way to achieve something. Maybe for the other person, stress means a lot of burden. It's a factor which causes or makes failure to him. It's a universal phenomena. No one is exempted from stress. It's an individual experience. A stress which is felt by one person may not be the same with the other people. It provides stimulus for growth and change. If you are ready to take stress as positively, there are internal causes and external causes of stress. Fear is a very important factor which lead people to be stressed. Certain uncertainties, when people are not sure about certain things, whether they will achieve something or whether they will not be able to achieve something. So this sort of thinking may lead them into stress, that can cause stress. Negative outlook or a pessimistic attitude. Pessimism can cause stress in people. They're not ready to take certain failures. They're not ready to take certain conflicts or the frustration in a positive outlook. For everything, they seek negative sort of experiences. The people should be flexible in their thinking. They should be ready to accept some failure. They should be ready to forgo things. Rigidity in thinking may lead to stress. A person who values themselves positively, a person who has good self-esteem, a person who has a positive outlook of life may not be having negative self-talk. Negative self-talk lead to stress. We need to have the goal or the target what we want to be achieved a realistic one. We have to have certain objectives in our mind which is attainable, achievable. If we keep a goal which is beyond our capacity to achieve, and this sort of unrealistic expectations which we have about ourselves, which we create among the people around us, then automatically we will be stressed. Attitudes and perceptions. About our attitudes, about the people, those who are around us, their attitudes and perceptions about us, that may cause certain stress in us. If we have a positive attitude, if we have an optimistic attitude, if we have an attitude to take things as a stepping stone to success, then automatically we will not be landing into stress. There are people who are so much perfectionist. They feel that they have to do everything in a very good manner. They think that they should not create any sort of problems. They should not fail in any of the work. Automatically, this sort of attitude in people may land them into trouble. A simple failure, a simple thing which they are not able to achieve, when they are not able to reach the target, then automatically they will be stressed. And this stress causes them a lot. The external causes of stress are major life changes. A life changing from a child to an adolescent to a youth to a marriage or family life, and from a family life to have kids, becoming a parent, then the marriage of the children, then on the way to old age, a retired life. All these are major life changes in our life. And throughout these changes, if we are not able to accept the realities, if we are not aware about the different things which can happen in the different stages of our life, automatically we will be stressed. The work and the workplace is another important aspect in our life. If things are going on well, then we will be stress free. But if some things are going on in a not expected manner, where the things are not supportive, when there is a lot of pressure, then automatically it can lead us into a stressful situation. The relationships of individuals, relationship in a family, relationship in a peer group, relationship in a workplace, relationship in each and every stages of human life, whether it is a personal relationship or a professional relationship. If things are not going properly, then it may lead into stress. When people are too busy in their life, when they are overwhelmed with many tasks at a time, they will be stressed. Stress about completing of target, stressed about getting a good opinion after doing the things or completing the work which they are supposed to do, stress about promotions, stressed about appreciations. So being too busy to create stress in people at a time. Another important factor that cause stress in people, especially in today's world where we are into nuclear family, that is, obviously you may be understood what I am going to say, that is parenting. When in a joint family, there were people to take care of the kids. There was a support system for the young parents. But today, as we have moved into a nuclear sort of system, parenting becomes a tedious work. The parents, the same time, they have to take care of the kids and they have to also go out and work for their sustenance. Most of the time, today, both the parent, they are into work. So, taking care of the kid becomes a stressful factor. Many at a time, this parenting itself creates a lot of family conflicts between the couple. A major factor which causes stress, which we are not able to understand, which people are not able to analyze why things are happening, that is the personality type of the individual. There are various personality types. Some of the types which are easygoing, which doesn't take into their heads whatever happening around them. There are certain personality types which are very much optimistic. However, there are some personality types which are pessimistic, which are having certain rigidness. So, this sort of personality type may cause stress. The effects of stress on our body. When we are stressed, automatically the reaction is being seen in our body. It may be, the manifestations may be of physical, emotional, intellectual, social, and spiritual. It may affect the self of the individual. It may affect the perception and thinking capacities of individual. It may alter the relationships of people. Stress may affect one's beliefs and values too. The effects of stress, the physical effects are: when we are stressed, the manifestations are headache, sleepiness, tight or sore muscles, shaky hands, sweatiness, stomachache, and rapid breathing. You believe it or not, most of these cases, when you go for a clinical diagnosis, nothing is being manifested. All the results will be of negative, but the person or the individual who undergoes stress, they feels it without any sort of physical manifestations. A real pathological conditions will not be there in their body. But the people, they feel the pain. They feel the pain. They feel, they are of tired. They feel sleepy. But the clinical manifestations will not be seen in them. Emotional effects. We see when people are stressed, see, they become moody, they lose their enthusiasm, they tend to forget things, they tend to worry a lot. There are people, when they are stressed, they become tempered, they will be having so much of irritations. For silly reasons, they shout at people, they quarrel with people. There are people, they hit others too when they are stressed. When people are stressed, they feel a lot of overwhelming aspects. When individual is stressed, it may lead to depression, anxiety, weight loss, or sometimes because of stress, there are people who gain weight also. Stress may lead to heart diseases, digestive problems, cognitive and memory problems, skin diseases. Well, after knowing about the sources, effects, and the causes of stress, we may understand that stress is a universal factor. Every individual at one or the other moment of their life, they undergo stress. So, what usually people think to do, they tend to do either to fight with the stress. And sometimes the stress may overpower and the person will be landing into utter trouble, and the stressful situations may cause their life too. The other thing which usually people do, there are individuals, when they are not able to fight, the next thing which they do, they love to fly. They give a chance for flight. But friends, remember, fight or flight, both are not the positive side. where if we fight, then automatically there are chances of failure too. Then again, it may lead us into more stress. If we fly away, if we run away from stress, how far we are going to run? Okay? Because as we run along, all these stressful situations, they too will be running back of us. Because everywhere, wherever you go, there are stresses. So how far we are able to fly? How far we are able to run away? Because it is something which will follow us. So better is another thing which can help us to face this stress in a better way. That is the coping mechanisms. We need to understand fight and flight is not an option, but cope with stress. We can able to manage. We are able to face it. We are able to use certain strategies, certain techniques to face this stress. Either it may help us to come out totally, or it may help us to gradually come out from the stressful situations and lead a better, happy life. So what is coping? Coping is a problem-solving process that a person uses to manage the stresses or events with which he or she is presented. In a simple word, we can say coping is nothing but able to overcome the stressful situation. There's an adaptive coping, that is, helps person to deal effectively with stress. Maladaptive coping results in unnecessary distress for the person and stressful events. The techniques to handle stress are, or the coping strategies are, I've listed few of the techniques. These are not only the techniques which we can follow. There are hundreds and thousands of techniques, coping strategies. As stress differs from individual to individual, as people are unique in nature, as people take or mean stress in different way for different people, because of the differences in personality of people, not two individuals can use the same techniques to cope with the stress. For every individual, the coping techniques are different. For one, if technique A is the best, but for the other person, technique B will be the better option. Remember, people differ from one person to the other. The best technique to cope with stress, or a technique which will help people to come out from the stress totally or fully, it is the support system. Initially, when I was explaining about the stressors, I said, if there is a good family or a peer group or a supportive environment, automatically the stressors will become a failure, because the support system will help the person who is feeling stress to come out from the stress. the parents, friends, colleagues, relatives, kith and kins. If we can get good support from all these peers, then automatically we are able to come out from the stressful situation. Another important technique, it is, I told you earlier, our attitude matters. If we have an optimistic attitude, if we have a confidence in us, if we are able to value ourselves positively, if our attitude is of facing or taking challenge, then automatically we will be able to cope with the stress. So what we need to do, it is to inculcate positive attitude in us. Then automatically that will be a technique which we can use to handle stressful situation. To be realistic, I told you earlier, one of the factor which lead us into stress, it is unrealistic expectations. We have to set the goals, set the target which is attainable and achievable. So be real to you. Be what you are. And when we know who we are, we know ourselves, then automatically we will be realistic. Realistic towards us, realistic towards the society, realistic towards all the situation. And this nature will help us to overcome stress. Another aspect which is very important to handle stress is many at a time we will be disorganized, and that disorganization can cause stress. We start with work without completing anything, we move on to the other. Okay? We get engaged in one activity, and before completing this activity, we try to get engaged with the other activity, and both these will be left in its place. We tend to procrastinate. So this may lead us into stress. So a technique we need to imbibe in us, it is get organized. Another important aspect which is a very necessity in the individual's life, it is to take a regular break. There are people, they just are workaholic. They don't take break. They don't spend time with the family. They don't go for any sort of relaxations, any sort of recreations. They don't even take time or think about their own personal hygiene. They don't concentrate on their body and their diet. So all these factors may lead into stress. So a very nice technique to handle stress or to cope with the stress, it is to take break. Take break for us, take break for our family, take a break to spend with our hobbies, with our friends. Another technique to cope with stress, it is to take care of yourself. Try to know who we are. Try to get into yourself. Get to know more about yourself. Get to know your positives. Get to know your weaknesses. Get to know your talents. Get to know your attitudes. And try to inculcate the positive aspects and try to reduce or learn to reduce the negative attitudes or negative aspects in an individual. Another problem with an individual, because we fail to say no. So when we are not ready to say no to certain things where we were supposed to say no. Later, the factor may lead us into stressful situation. So better learn to say no where we are supposed to say no. Get a regular exercise. Get into hobbies. Connect to others. Get good rest. And very importantly, for a healthy diet. So friends, we were discussing about stress, the characteristics, stressors, sources, causes and effects. And just now we were also discussing about few of the techniques which an individual can inculcate so they can come out from stress. So hope we will be able to come out from stress and lead a better, healthy and happy life. Because stress may hamper our happiness. Stress may act as an obstacle for living a happy and healthy life. Thank you.